My amplified unit. After the last couple of unfathomable days, we all tuned to Friday night Smackdown for just a piece of normalcy. Just a little bit of something familiar. Something we know, something we love. A moment of an escape from the harsh reality we all find ourselves in, losing not just Terry Funk, but unfathomably Bray Wyatt. So we all tuned in to SmackDown, not just to see what they would do, how would they honor, remember, and celebrate Funk and Wyatt. It wasn't just to see what WWE would do, it was because we needed to come together at that precise moment as a community, not to try to make sense of it all, because I truly believe that's not even possible right now, but to start the process of processing these tragedies. Because passing away at 36 from a heart attack is nothing short of a tragedy. And losing somebody as vital to this community like Terry Funk could be looked at the same. We'll go over this show, start to finish, beginning to end, top to bottom. And I will say this. I do feel WWE tried to entertain us last night. I do feel they tried to put us all in a better headspace for at least 2 hours. But we'll go over this show in today's SmackDown August 25th, 2023 review. First and foremost, a little story from BC if you don't mind. I got my vanilla latte yesterday late afternoon. Looks like I'm talking to myself, but I'm saying some words to Bray Wyatt. Hoping that he's proud of how I carried the channel the past couple of days. How I paid tribute to somebody I looked up to and will always look up to, like Windham Rotunda. Hoping that he knows that I put in the effort and did the best that I could. But the truth is, nothing I could have done tribute-wise could ever do somebody like Bray Wyatt justice. But letting him know that I tried, and hoping that he was happy with what we produced on the channel. So I'm saying some words to Bray Wyatt. Straight truth. No BS, we don't do that on this channel. I look up, and no joke, I could swear it's the Wyatt symbol. The Wyatt 6 symbol. And that butterfly is up in the air. And the sun is straight behind it, making the rays cascade all around this Wyatt logo and symbol. And these rays were just cascading all throughout the sky. Now, I never see that. Rarely. And I often look up. And I never see the sun like that or cascading rays like that. Picturesque wouldn't even do it justice. And I couldn't help but just stop in awe with just a little smile. I truly believe I got his approval. I truly believe that was Bray Wyatt saying, "You did good, kid." And if that's the case, I'll take it. Gratefully. Just thought I'd share that with you guys, man. It was a wow moment where literally everything just stopped. And for the next hour, that stayed illuminated. Roughly an hour that stayed illuminated in the sky. Smackdown starts off. The entire Q1 segment was dedicated to straight tributes to both Bray Wyatt and Terry Funk. We start with a double graphic with Bray and Terry's respective in memoriams. We then go inside the arena where the entire roster is positioned on stage. Paul Levesque McMahon standing center stage. Directly to Paul Levesque McMahon is Cody Rhodes to his right. And to Paul Levesque McMahon's left is Eric Rowan. And standing next to Cody Rhodes is Braun Strowman. So the fact that Eric Rowan was able to make the flight, make this trip, made it that much more special. And having Braun Strowman there, cherry on top. I would have switched Cody and Braun so that Braun and Eric Rowan are both on each side of Levesque McMahon, but they decided to situate Cody between them. Still very cool. Alexa Bliss, she could not make the flight. There were some flight issues because it was so late in getting these plans together. So Alexa Bliss had to sit this one out, but she sent such an emotional message via her social about 45 minutes before the show started. Very, very good message and very cool. Very, very heartfelt from Alexa Bliss. Sethington Rollins decided to sit this one out, and he recalls a conversation he had with Bray when Brody had passed away, and Bray said, just hug your loved ones right now. That's what you should be doing. So Seth said not only did he feel that Bray Wyatt would be okay with him staying home and being with his loved ones, but he feels that Bray Wyatt would actually advocate for that, so he decided to not make the flight to Louisville for SmackDown. So Sethington, Alexa, and there were several others that didn't make the flight, did not appear, but it was a really good turnout. Most of that roster was on that stage. And again, Eric Rowan and Braun Strowman front and center. It just made all the sense in the world, and it just felt right. And it's what should have happened. So I'm glad they were able to get those two there. Michael Cole is ringside with the lights dimmed. Michael Cole informs us that tonight's show will be a double tribute for Wyatt and Funk. We then proceed to the 10-bell salute, echoing through the arena. As the roster remains on stage, we go to a full-length, super emotional, and exceptionally, and I do mean exceptionally done video package highlighting the career of Windham Rotunda Bray Wyatt. To the point where coming out of that video package, we see the roster still on the stage, and most are in tears. In fact, AJ Styles and Zelina Vega were really shaken up. Going into the video package, AJ Styles, you can see he's trying to keep his cool. He's chewing on bubble gum. Not trying to be disrespectful, but he's probably trying not to lose his shit. And coming out of the video package, you see AJ Styles trying to wipe away the tears. Face is a lot more red. And right next to him, Zelina Vega, absolutely breaking down. Completely shooken up. We then hear the crowd start chanting Bray Wyatt, and then they even break into, he's got the whole world in his hands. He's got the whole world in his hands. They broke into song while the Fireflies were all out. Cell phones, do they do lighters anymore, or is that so 20 years ago? Cell phones in the air. So proud of Louisville, man. I'm so proud of that crowd to break out in that chant, into that song. So the crowd is doing their part. The lights dim again. And this time, Bray's rocking chair appears on the stage. Now, mind you, the whole roster is still there. And the lights dim, and the rocking chair. I mean, to be one of the boys and gals, to be on that roster on the top of that stage, and to see that rocking chair, man, if you weren't emotional, if you weren't in tears before, I don't know how you're not losing your shit. So we zoom into that rocking chair, that empty chair. We zoom in as we fade to black. An image that is cementing the reminder that Bray will never be seated in that chair again. And we fade right into a commercial. When we come back from break, we get a Terry Funk tribute video package, much shorter in length than Bray's, but super emotional nonetheless, and there would be a much longer, full-length tribute video for Terry Funk later via Cody Rhodes. We'll go over that in hour number 2. But for this one, super emotional, and as a whole, it was just a heavy 13 minutes and all. And the rest of the show, many more memories were shared, especially of Bray Wyatt. And with a very powerful finish to the show. So we'll go over that as well. So the first Q1 segment, 13 minutes up front, and then the 2-minute commercial break following. The entire Q1 was just literally honoring Bray and Terry, and that's it. And that's exactly what should have been done. Let it breathe, relax. You got 2 hours. The first matchup of the night, Rey Mysterio defeats Grayson Waller via pinfall off the 619 springboard splash combo. Austin Theory and Santos Escobar were involved late in this match. I truly believe Waller has yet to win a match on the main roster, by the way, before I even continue. I might be wrong. Maybe he won a match, but I know he lost against several people, including Edge recently. He lost the Fatal 4-Way. He lost a bunch of matches, let's just put it that way. And he just lost this one to Rey Mysterio. So I believe there's so much more important things going on in the pro wrestling world. I can't check out his win-loss record, but I believe he has not even won a match since he debuted months ago. So that losing streak continues. But in all honesty, it was just hard to get into this match, given the first quarter of the show. It was a little tough to switch the dome piece on a snap of a finger and just get back to business as usual. You know, it just didn't feel right. It wasn't, the timing was just off. I'm more than okay with them having this match right after that first Q1 segment and all the tributes, right? And try to entertain, try to get everybody's mind off of the doom and gloom. And just remember what we're all here for, man. And it's still La Familia, and the pro wrestling world is together, and Bray would want these performers to go out and rock it and us to enjoy it. But it was off. I couldn't ease my way back into it or instantly get into this match. I just couldn't. It's nothing to do with Rey, Santos, Grayson Waller, or even Austin Theory, who was out there trying to interfere. No fault of any of them. It was just, the dome piece couldn't click over to just watching business as usual, a wrestling match. But, it was decent, I'm sure, from what I do recall of it. But I just needed a moment, man. That's how powerful the Q1 segment was. And just trying to wrap my head around it and fathom what's transpired over the last couple of days. Now, to end hour number 1, this was the match that I kind of started to ease my way into it, that I, for a moment, to just get my dome piece off of just Bray and Terry and the doom and gloom. This was the match where I was like, all right, this is actually good. I'm entertained. I'm enjoying this. I know Bray would be enjoying this. And it was a women's championship match. Iyo Sky versus Zelina Vega. They did a real good job making this feel special and like a big deal. Lights dim down. They do the introductions because it's a championship match. They're letting it breathe. Zelina's game face is just top notch. Iyo just looks like she's ready to have the match of her life. Not saying that this was, but facial expressions, mannerisms, the atmosphere, the timing of it. It was just so right. And again, credit to WWE for really making this feel good. And again, letting it breathe right from the jump with introductions alone. And not to mention, it's Iyo's first title defense. So here we go. Now, there was a funny moment where Michael Cole asked Corey Graves, and I quote, "If the first title defense is the hardest." So Michael Cole goes, Corey, is the first title defense the hardest, do you think? And Corey Graves goes, I don't know, Michael. I've never won a title. It was funny, man. And again, it's those moments that kind of get your, kind of takes you away from everything that's kind of going on, and you can laugh for a second. And I just thought that was funny. Michael Cole goes, you could at least lie and say you won the title. I don't think most people would know. And even Kevin Patrick got in on it. Kevin Patrick's like, never let the truth get in the way of a good story. Corey Graves says, I'm not the lying type. It was just funny, man. Michael Cole asking Corey Graves about the first time he defended his title. And Corey Graves was like, I never held one, Michael, but thank you. It was funny. Anyway, for this match, this was a good match. It was just, again, maybe it was the timing. Maybe I was just ready to just watch a wrestling match and just take a deep breath and just be entertained. Just do your thing, and I'm just going to watch. Just one of those sitches, and they really delivered, man. This was a good match. Zelina Vega crushed it. Zelina crushed it. Iyo did too, but you expect that. Iyo is one of the best female wrestlers in the world. But Zelina was in there like she's been a champion for the last 3 years in a row. Like she's had Roman's title reign. I mean, she really was just confident. She was just firing on all cylinders, rocking out with full confidence, no hesitancy. And when you don't have hesitancy, and when you're full of confidence, you just don't screw up. I mean, there's not going to be botches, or at least many, or at least not any that you can actually see, or that are relevant or prevalent enough to speak about, because the confidence is there. So even when you do mess up, it's so natural, and you're on to the next, that fans are like, nothing to talk about. But when you're hesitant, when you lack confidence, that's where some of the most sloppiness comes from. And botches will stem from the sloppiness, and then the train is off the tracks. Good luck putting that back on. But Zelina was just in there just like, no, I'm rocking this out. I know what I'm capable of, and I'm going on and doing it. Very cool to see. Iyo would win this match, as she should. It's her first title defense. There's no way she can lose this. Over the moonsault, 1, 2, 3. Literally just sitting on Zelina's face, by the way. Every teenage dude in the world was having just like, yes. Oh, man. Just sitting on Zelina's face for the cover. It was hilarious. And Zelina just was like, all right, whatever. Get your pin. And then after the pin, she remained on her face. I don't know. Beautiful sight for many, I assure you. But over the moonsault, Zelina takes the L. But I think sometimes there's victory and defeat sometimes. And this is one of those matches where Zelina can go, damn, we rock that. I'm really good at what I do, So Zelina can have put her head up high on that match, man. That was actually good. And again, I was entertained. I thought it was fun. I could go another 5 to 8 minutes up front of them two wrestling each other, and I'd be more than okay with it. So if they built a story around that and that happened at a pay-per-view, I'd be totally down with it. Good way to end our number one, man. Good women's matchup. If they ever want to run it back in the future, I'm down with it. Cody Rhodes starts our number two. He is given the task of honoring and celebrating the career and life of Terry Funk. And Cody nailed it. Funk would have been proud, man. Cody told a story of Funk and his father, Dusty. He talked Terry's journey into and through pro wrestling, and he even took us to a second video package for Funk, and this one was a full-fledged tribute. Terry Funk hardcore tag match is next. Butch and Ridge Holland of the Brawling Brutes versus the Street Profits. This was entertaining, very chaotic of a tag match. In fact, it wasn't even a tag match at all. Tornado rules, obviously. It's a Terry Funk hardcore tag match. Bobby Lashley was at ringside, and he speared Butch so incredibly that Pete Dunne came out the other side. It was one of the best spears I've ever seen Bobby Lashley hit. And it takes two to tango, so much props to Butch for taking it the way that he did. The Street Profits would send Holland through a table in ring and score the pinfall. I forgot if it was, maybe it was Ford, I believe. Dawkins lifted up Hollins, and then Ford sent Holland through. Dawkins lifted Holland. Yeah, I'm gonna say Ford. I believe it was chaotic, man. What can I say? But again, fun, entertaining. And the match did what it was supposed to do. Not just honor Terry Funk, but just take you away for a few minutes from what we're all really thinking about. So, pretty cool, man. And Bobby Lashley and the Profits just celebrate like the Yankees just won their 30th World Championship. Their 40th. Like my Packers just won the Super Bowl. I'm like, you just won a match. So I don't know. That's the second time I've seen that happen where they celebrate like a bunch of Little Leaguers that just won the Little League World Championship, the World Series Championship. I don't know about the celebrating thing. Sometimes you got to act. Derek Jeter always said, act like you've been there before. Act like you've done it before. Act like you've won it before. Like keep some composure, relax, stay cool. They're winning these just matches out of nowhere, and they're just celebrating like they just won a championship of some sort. The Lombardi Trophy is in their grasp. So I don't know about the celebrating thing. Other than that, this match served its purpose. Up next was L.A. Knight. Yeah. He's out for his main event match with Finn Balor, and it was being hyped up as two individuals that Bray Wyatt had big feuds with, and he did. Balor, of course, several times. And L.A. Knight was his most recent and last, because he never really got to do anything with Bobby Lashley. That never evolved into anything. So it was really the L.A. Knight Royal Rumble Mountain Dew Pitch Dark Black match, whatever it was called. So I didn't mind this. It's an interesting, intriguing match with Knight and Balor. But before that match would even take place, L.A. Knight would first rock the microphone. And he paid great tribute to Bray. And I quote, L.A. Knight says, "He did everything to me to prepare me for anything." In other words, he was saying thank you to Bray. Crediting Bray for where he is now. And isn't that the truth? Because coming out of that feud with Bray Wyatt, Windham Rotunda, L.A. Knight gained white lightning hot momentum. And he's had it for 7 months since. And I told you guys, every single podcast we did leading up to that Rumble, I told you guys, man, I like this. There's a vocal minority that can't stand the supernatural, doesn't like anything that's happening with Knight and Wyatt over on this channel. Aside from the bloodline, it was the only thing captivating me. And I told you guys, LA Knight, he's going to gain victory in defeat. And sure enough, I didn't bullshit you. He gained much victory in defeat. I love that line. He did everything to me to prepare me for anything. Very cool by LA Knight. He also says, and I quote, "The spirit of Bray Wyatt is in this arena." And everybody's got their phones out, the Fireflies, as he kept referring to them as. And then he turns his attention to The Miz and verbally annihilates The Miz. He says, "You want to call me a fad? That's fine, because you never were. Nobody ever cared about you. You talk about a WrestleMania main event all the time 12 years ago, but all you were was background for The Rock and John Cena." Damn. Scathing, because it's actually true. He says, and oh yeah, Miz, "A wise man once told me the next time you see me, run." And the camera fades out. It was so well done. We go to the main event, Balor vs. Knight. Referee Jessica Carr is in charge of the action. Interesting, intriguing match, as I aforementioned. Balor vs. LA Knight. You think about it and you're like, this could be good. Sure enough, it was good. LA Knight coming off of last week's catastrophe, being rolled up. A fruit roll-up to one of the most over dudes, by one of the most boring dudes at the moment, Theory. It was a catastrophe last week, and I think everybody in this company knew it, and this was their way to say, oops, we done fucked up. And LA Knight recently, in an interview, he actually did call Paul Levesque McMahon out. I'm very proud of him for doing that, because that's the only way you're going to create true change, right? And recently, LA Knight said, okay, I can see why Paul may have some trepidation. This is basically a quote. If I'm switching up a word, it's a slight paraphrase, but nearly a quote. He says, I understand Paul might have some trepidation in case I'm a fad, a flash in the pan. But he said there comes a point, there comes a line where you have to do something. And he says, maybe we've crossed that line. In other words, Paul's now missing the boat. Like by now, Levesque McMahon should have been doing more. And he said Paul Levesque, by the way, not Vincent Kennedy, just to make sure that we understand what the actual quote was. So last night was one of those things where, sometimes you got to speak up like LA Knight did to create the change that should already have been happening. And last night was huge, man. He needed a big outing here. And wow, did he have one. A straight up clean pinfall over Balor via BFT, blunt force trauma. It was huge. I think Michael Cole said it when he said this might be the biggest win of his WWE career. You think? Over Finn Balor in the main event of Smackdown. Now, the true test here is, can they keep this going? Not can. Will they keep this going? Of course they could. Or is LA Knight just losing next week and we continue to 50-50 book him? Does he lose via roll-up? Or do they actually start to build momentum? So even casual fans or people that are not on board with LA Knight, they can start to look at this dude like a winner. Not just a flash in the pan, but somebody you can get behind because you see that the company is behind them. To this point, there's been no consistency with LA Knight. Not even close. This could be a massive start. This was huge. Post-match, the lights go out. Fog engulfs the ring. Bray Wyatt's lantern is sitting inside the ring. Light on. The lantern is on. The fog is erupting over it. The lights are dimmed down. A visual of Bray Wyatt appears on the Tron. Almost like a shadow or silhouette of Bray Wyatt in a ring. And the camera shot perfectly done, almost like Wyatt is in the Smackdown ring live. We zoom in on the lantern. And then we fade to black. The last time to see the lantern. There was reports that the lantern was going to be a part of SmackDown and it was going to go out, signifying that for the last time the lantern has gone out. But they decided to keep it lit. thought that was interesting. And instead we just faded to black. I kind of like that better. It'll always be lit. Bray Wyatt will always live on in so many other facets. All in all, guys, I am more than okay with this show. I truly feel WWE tried to entertain us as best they could. I truly feel they wanted to just set everybody's minds at ease and entertain. Get you away from all the doom and gloom over the last couple of days for at least 2 hours. I do feel that they wanted to honor Bray Wyatt and Terry Funk as best as possible on such short notice. 1 day for Bray. So now the thing is to make sure that we always honor and remember and celebrate Bray Wyatt. Terry Funk for sure. Billy Graham, Droz, Iron Sheik, and any other wrestler that unfortunately we lost this year and years past, no question. As I still do for Mr. Perfect, or the British Bulldog, or Owen Hart, or Eddie Guerrero, and so many others. But for Bray Wyatt on this channel, it hits differently. That was our dude. I said from the very beginning, whether you like it or not, whether you want to hear it or not, this is a pro Bray Wyatt channel. I stayed steadfast. We've had many battles. A lot of people didn't like the fact that we were so pro Bray Wyatt. But we never wavered in our commitment to make sure that the whole world knew how special Bray was. We never wavered. We stayed steadfast. And we will always do that. Because now, if he wasn't before, he's listening to the Amplified, man, and to this channel. He's always a part of the Amplified unit. I think he always was. But now we got to make him proud. And we will do that. Gone could never be forgotten. His legacy is, like that lantern, always going to be on. That's how special he was. Larger than life wouldn't even do it justice. That's the term I've been using, but Bray was even larger than life. Go figure. And quickly, guys, before I end the podcast, all the super thanks over the last couple of days, it's been a whirlwind. The past couple of days have just been all over the place with all this news and all the content we had to put up at the channel, the travel arrangements that I had to either cancel or change/move, the business that I have to attend to, which seems to be nonstop the last week plus. It's been wild, but all the super thankses over the last couple of podcasts, I got them all, man. They're all colored. They go into a separate category, so trust me when I say I got all those super thankses, guys, and I appreciate them so very much. They're called super thankses in a way for you guys to say thank you to BC and the channel for the content, but trust me when I say I'm the one who's thanking you guys to the highest of levels, man. So just know that. And what I would prefer, not that I don't appreciate the coffees, trust me, man, I think that's such a highest level of appreciation. Channel memberships, the super thanks, the super chats where you guys throw a coffee at BC. I just think that's awesome because it just shows the level of appreciation that you have for the channel. But what I prefer, guys, is that you take that coffee money that you're going to chuck at the channel, send it over to JoJo and Wyatt's family, man. Make sure that they're set. Make sure that they're okay. I'm going to be fine. I got plenty of coffee money. I appreciate it. Send it over to Wyatt's family. I believe by now there's probably some donations set up. I believe there was earlier when we did the last podcast, actually the live stream. If there is, send it over there, man. Because that's where the focus should be right now. Wyatt's family. Making sure that they never have a need going forward and making sure that Big Bray, way up high, doesn't have a worry going forward about that family. Thank you, guys. I appreciate that. That's where I'm going to end it for there. You guys stay amplified and kick ass this weekend. We'll reconvene next week for a whole new week of professional wrestling. We'll be going over All In. Hopefully I'll have a review for you guys. We will talk SmackDown's go-home show to Payback. Payback coming in, and then All Out. All in, All Out, Payback. There is a lot happening starting next week in professional wrestling. So this is where we got to regroup, try to make sense of what we can, and come back more amplified than ever before. All right, till next time, and there will be a next time. Top Guy, I'm out. BC, saying check you. Peace.